Hello, my name is Pulse, Futureland's AI assistant. You're watching AI Soundbites from Futureland's AI Forward Summit, held at MoCA and presented by Google.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alyssa Shrif. I'm a senior technical recruiter at Samsara. We do use AI. We're an AI forward company. So I hire the engineers and the product managers that build the AI behind the scenes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we gotta guess who knows what's going on.
Exactly.
Just a little something, just a little.
Awesome. And we also got Miss Walks with us today, y'all.
They thought I was retired. We got y'all. We here in Futureland, and I just want to get right into it. So, what do you see being the biggest advantages and disadvantages of using AI?
Ooh, advantages is kind of what you were just talking about. Like you can take everyday work that is very cumbersome or takes a long time to do, or however you want to say it, you can automate it in a matter of seconds. Things that used to be really complex math problems or really complex code for engineers to write, they're able to just pop into ChatGPT, Cursor, or whatever AI tools they're using, and it's done. So in that regard, it's making work a lot more efficient. But the downside is inevitably the workplace is going to get hit. One of the people earlier asked the question, what is how is it going to impact the workforce? And the reality is we will lose jobs. It's inevitable anytime there's a new system change or something like that. But I think it's good. I think it's refreshing. And I think that if more people used it and learned how to use it, then they would understand how advantageous it is to their everyday life.
That's
So,
good.
crooked with the straight.
There you go.
So I got a question because Sam asked me earlier off camera. She didn't know this, so you can help her find out.
Okay.
What you're looking for when you hear engineer, some people would think just someone who's feed the prompt into it. What does it mean to be an actual engineer working with AI?
That's a good question because there's a lot of engineers that work with AI. So it depends. You have your internal engineers who do internal development and things to actually build the infrastructure, or you're building under the hood. So the way they're using AI and LLMs is going to be very different versus if I'm a customer facing engineer or on the front end side or full stack that are customer facing. Those engineers, at least where I work at Samsara, they're automating workflows. They're taking in over 20 trillion of data points and they're automating that. So Samsara supports trucking companies, logistics operations, and give us some backstory. And the way they're using it is very different versus the way that somebody like you might use.
Yeah.
So it's a good question, but there's so many ways to answer.
I got you.
The more narrow question would be front end versus full stack versus infrastructure versus platform. There's layers of how it can be used, but all of them can use it though.
I got you. So it's levels to this.
Yeah, clearly.
Because as soon as she started talking about engineering, my brain went.
Yeah. So engineers, they'll use it to basically reduce time to code, and they'll use it to reduce errors or bugs. So unfortunately, jobs are getting affected because a lot of entry level or junior engineers are pretty much going to be wiped away. This is my theory. Wiped away because AI is getting so good that it can literally code for them. Math problems and super complex equations that would impact code that would take years or months to solve are now being solved in seconds. So, but then again, a different type of engineer versus if I'm a front end engineer and I'm working on a UI UX experience, I may tap into Midjourney because I'm looking to get help on the actual visual side.
Yeah.
But if I'm an infrastructure engineer and I cannot figure out this code and this code has a whole system broken, I can just tap ChatGPT or whatever Cursor or whatever other AI dev tools to use to fix it for me. So it's a lot.
So, as somebody who is familiar with AI, familiar with tech, what are you looking forward to the most during today's summit?
To get connected, as a Black person here working in tech in Cleveland, it's good to see this being put on a major stage, especially here at MoCA. But I would love to find more ways to get more connected with the Black Cleveland community scene, specifically in tech, so I can give back. Part of the reason why I came into tech and recruiting was to be a bridge builder, and it's hard to build bridges when you're isolated.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to build some of those bridges and get some connection here today.
So let me ask you this. Unfortunately, because, the statistics show that, unfortunately, minorities were slow to getting into the AI field. How do you feel like we can help move that needle a little bit?
Well, I think first, language matters, and the words we use has an impact. So first of all, we're not minorities. So I think that's the first thing we have to address. Statistically speaking, Black and brown people are not minorities here in the U.S. if you just look at the statistics. So clock that. So that's the first thing you got to think about. And I think that sometimes when people use the word minority, it minimizes so much in who we are, what we bring to the table, the funk, the creativity, the flair. There are other groups and cultures who could never put on an event like this. And it's just because they don't have the sauce that we bring.
Buzzer. Come on now.
I think the first thing is to realize the sauce that we bring cannot be duplicated. People have tried in many ways, but it just can't be. So recognizing that we are who we are and we bring so much funk, that's step one. Because when you approach AI or you approach tech with that funk and knowing that you could bring that, you can put your own je ne sais quoi on it per se. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is like just people that work in tech, like us that are privileged to already be in these spaces, is so imperative for us to start to go back and speak to people that look like us so they can know it's a possibility. A lot of the time, like I worked in higher ed, I worked at Kent, I was the career advisor for STEM students. People just didn't know what options were out there. When people think of engineering, what do you typically think of?
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay.
I think robots grabbing
Robots.
things.
Man behind the camera, what do you think of? Okay, one more person. What do you think of? Oh, wait, are you an engineer? Okay, what do you think of when you think engineering, career-wise?
Musical engineers, sitting on a soundboard.
Mm-hmm.
Engineers, yes.
Okay, and I ask those questions because a lot of the time people don't realize how many engineers there are. There's musical engineers, there's AI engineers, there's infrastructure engineers, there's software, there's mechanical engineers, there's hardware engineers. Those are the engineers that literally build these devices, build the cameras. That's a whole different engineering. So the more that we're able to give back and share that information, the better it's going to be, and the more options we'll have available to us. So I know it's cliche to say, go out there and help, but they don't know. They don't know. Yeah.
Start somewhere, right?
And I'm so glad you said reaching back, because as a person who works with youth, they're always concerned about what the workforce is going to be like when they graduate. What is the future going to be like if AI is taking away jobs and stuff right now? So what advice would you give to a young person who's maybe interested in getting into tech or something, and they see the trends that are happening right now? Like, what advice would you give them?
So it's partly advice I would give to the younger person, but also whomever has an influence on their path. The first thing I would say is learn how to solve really hard problems and learn how to really think critically, because people don't realize, like, if you can understand those hard problems and like think critically through them, you can become an engineer, because that's bulk of what engineering is.
Oh, wow.
And so giving children and or youth the space to overcome those hard problems. So if you're a parent, like I'm a mom, I have a 4-year-old, 2-year-old. If I see my 4-year-old struggling to build blocks, I'm not going to help her. I'm purposely going to let her figure out a way to do it, because it's giving her those very early foundations of how do I solve problems by myself. So whatever those problem solving skills look like at various ages, if you can start to give those to your children younger, the better. And then for that younger person, they have to seek hard things. I think one of the things that can be somewhat crippling as a parent, especially in today's generation, is we have this desire to give so much to our kids and give them the answers and make it life easier. But if you want them to be a real critical thinker, you can't. And so kids themselves have to be willing to say, you know what, I want to learn a new skill, whether that's I want to learn how to draw, I want to learn how to read or to write. Learning those new skills and learning how to work harder things when you're younger is only going to make it easier. Whether you want to become a music engineer, software, whatever you want to do in tech, you'll be able to apply those same thought processes to any area of life. So I don't think it's so much of let's get you into tech. It's a lot of the soft skills that will help support that transition to whatever they explore in life.
That's so good.
Yeah, I love you said that, because
so
now I'm thinking critical thinking is like probably the foundation of it all.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. Yeah. Like if you look at like Asian schools, for example, even from primary, kindergarten to high school, the way they school is so much different than the way that we school here in the US. The way that we school in the US, and I'm not going to go deep on this, but it's a touchy topic, is very much to the test. It's here's this test. How do we teach it to that? Whereas if you look at places like Asian countries or like Denmark or like more European countries, they're more so teaching like life skills, problem solving skills, critical thinking skills. And again, statistically, they're doing a lot better. And I'm sure there's 100 other reasons why, but we can't ignore the fact that those problem solving, those early life skills set have an impact on what you think is possible in the future, whether it's AI, medical, or whatever career path.
No, that's good. So we obviously have to have you come on the pod or come on the Pull Experience.
Obviously.
So is there a way people can reach you, learn more? Where can people get in contact with you if they want to know a little bit more about how they can become engineers themselves? Yeah,
so like I said, I work for Samsara, so connect with me on LinkedIn. My first name is Alyssa, last name Shrif, Sharif, not pronounced Sheriff. Do not get on the phone with me and say Miss Sheriff. It's Sharif, to be real clear, put respect on it. But yeah, find me on LinkedIn. That's going to be the best way. You can shoot me a message, say that you saw us chatting here. Happy to connect with you. I will say my LinkedIn is my inbox is flooded, so give me patience and grace as I take time to reply.
You don't have an AI assistant?
No, I don't.
Hmm.
No, I don't. Well, I use ChatGPT, I use Gemini, but I don't have like an actual like AI assistant. But I should though. I should. I use other AI tools at my work though.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Listen. So, guys, this is another great interview, guys. We're here at Futureland Year 3. If you guys aren't here, I don't know what you're doing with your life, okay? Stay tuned for more interviews. Peace.